Last episode, I built a new building on the docks and jammed a highly inefficient yet quite fun moss farm inside. Today, I expand the docks with a storage yard, then link up a truck to transport the moss to the main storage depot, and finally add a passenger station with a shiny new passenger train to the area. As apparently I completely forgot to do that up till now. First off, however, I have a small problem to resolve, and that problem is a lack of food. I guess I need to do some cooking. However, we've been eating the same stuff for about 3,000 days now, and I'm fed up of burgers, cabbage rolls, and ratatouille. So we're going to go a little bit more exotic this time. So let's grab a bow, take a look at the menu, and see what we're going to be hunting today. We could have some kangaroo burgers, or maybe some shrimp fried rice. That sounds quite tasty. Maybe we could have some bone broth, squid ink pasta. That sounds exotic. Basically, on looking at that menu, I think I need a bit more meat in my diet, and we might get a few squid along the way as well to try some of that squid ink pasta. Sounds lovely. Let's go hunting.
Stop it!
Following our hunting trip, I have a selection of meats, and I've got some ink sacks, and if we combine that with some other stuff we already have here, we should be able to get some pretty tasty meals. And I think I'm going to start off just by making some bone broth, which is probably not going to be tasty, but it's something we've not made before, so let's give it a go. And I think this one is as simple as doing that and putting some bowls in there. In the meantime, let's get the kangaroo meat cooking so we can make our kangaroo burgers. And we're going to need a bunch of pasta so we can make our squid ink pasta. So we'll chop down some dough, and that'll give us some raw pasta. So let's chuck that in the pot alongside some squid ink. And then we also need some form of fish, which I've completely overlooked, and some tomato. Do we even have fish? We have 18 fish. That's not enough. I suppose the question is, can we chop this up to double what we've got? It would appear so. So we now have 36 fish, but we're still going to need a little bit more. Guess it's time to crack out the fishing rod. And it's raining, and it's dark. I think that's good for fishing, right? And what this little trip is teaching me is that I really need to sort out some kind of automated food supply. I do have some ideas for that, but it's going to involve a whole new district and lots of other big plans. So for now, we're just going to keep doing it manually, I guess. I mean, it doesn't take too long, and we can always just keep cooking up batches of vegetable soup and ratatouille. They're nice and easy, and we've got easy access to that. But if I want to have a varied diet, I should definitely mix it up at some point in future. About 10 minutes later, and I should have enough fish now to be able to make all of the ink soup that I need, although it's going to be a mix of cod and salmon, but that's fine. And I managed to drink my tea during the fishing trip too, so all is well. So if we chuck that in there, we'll start off with the salmon. That should make 46 of those, and then we'll top it up with cod when we're done. And we've got loads of mutton chops as well, so I think we're going to make some of the pasta with mutton chops. That'll be tasty. And for that, we need tomato sauce. We've got plenty of that. We need a little bit more raw pasta, so we're going to go make this wheat flour into dough. And of course, we need mutton chops. And that's going to make us our dough. And then we can make more pasta, top that up, and then we need to add more fish for more squid ink pasta, and everything's coming along lovely. And I've just remembered I'm supposed to be making kangaroo burgers, so let's grab these as well, and a stack of bread. These are nice and easy. I think we just need to craft them up. Something like that. Yep, there we go. And with that, I think we have all the food we're going to need for a little while, and we've got some variety for a change. But that's enough cooking with Beardy. Let's go do some building. And the building we're going to do is going to be over here in this section. I think I want to turn this into an outdoor storage yard. We'll have a little road that comes in this way. We'll probably have another entrance maybe here. And the idea will be we'll just have a bunch of shipping containers with pickup points. So other items that we produce around here, we can send them to this part. And then this is where the trucks can pick them up from. And I think I want to have this as kind of a muddy yard. So the first thing I'm going to do is pretty much just cover it with dirt and coarse dirt and so on, just to give us a canvas to work on. That should only take a moment. There we go, that's a slightly nicer area to work with, but now what I want to do is fence it all off. And I think we're going to do the same thing we did over at the other sort of container storage area, because this style of fence seems to work quite well. And in fact, I think we're going to do it from this side, because then we can put fence posts on the inside of it. I guess the question is, what do I want to do about these corners? So I could either cut the whole thing off and just go across there, and then I've got some weird space here, or I wonder, could I potentially create an angled fence? So if I was to have this fence go to there, I think we can get a straight angle across there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So if we were maybe to go like this, I've no idea if this is going to work or not. Let's quickly fill this fence panel in, because I don't think we're going to be able to change it once we move it. Then we'll glue it together, and I think I'll just glue it to this block here. And if we grab a mechanical bearing and a valve, that on there. Put the valve on and rotate it. Oh, no, we need to set this to only place when destroyed. Now let's do it. So this could potentially work, because I think I should be able to... Yep, I can do that to cover up the hole there. We do have these gaps, but we still need to put some fence posts in yet. So if I was to do this, just build up this side a little bit, see how it's going to look. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. But I'm not going to use jungle in here because it's blending in with the dirt and the coarse dirt too much. So let's quickly undo that for now, make sure it's placed, and we'll get these swapped out for something else. So we're going to try out spruce and oak, but I do want to try the oak first because it's a bit lighter. I think it might bring a bit of brightness to this area. We've already got a lot of spruce on this building here. And yeah, I think that's going to work. Now I have a plan. Let's get the rest of this fence up. Well, the fence is in and that's looking pretty good, but now I need to actually decorate the yard. And I think I might have maybe a sort of parked vehicle or two in here as well. Have like a sort of small car park area, I guess. And then just have lots of shipping containers and, of course, pickup points. The question is, what vaults do I have available to me right now? Let's come over here and have a gander, shall we? So we've got a good amount of yellow, not really enough green. We've got some grey, we've got some red, some dark grey, some white, and some black. I'm sure that'll be plenty, and we'll take a whole bunch of these boxes and crates and things as well that we used in the previous episode. My thinking is for the item pickups, the delivery trucks are going to come in. They'll probably sort of come over this way a little bit, and then just sort of pull up against a line of things here. That way we can leave space to park an abandoned vehicle there, and once it's done, I guess it can just sort of reverse and then maybe go up this road. Not entirely sure yet. Let's get a few shipping crates in and see how we're sitting. Well, I think that's a good start, but I've basically run out of vaults, so I need to go actually make a whole lot more, and I need to dye them up so we can get some more shipping containers. There we go. I think that'll do it for shipping containers. Now I've just got to work out everything else. So I guess you're probably going to get some kind of a montagey time-lapse thing. Maybe even a talky one. Who knows? I started by extending the storage drawers underground and creating a series of outputs in front of the shipping containers to allow delivery vehicles to come along and collect things. I then grabbed a load of wooden crate varieties and scattered them about the yard alongside some additional shipping containers. I made a new truck train to park in one corner, and after carving some tire marks, I added a wonky gate, textured the floor with some scoria and soul sand, and added some grass. And now we have a nice busy looking area. We've got a little roadway here, and I really do like the wonky gate. And on this side we have a big metal gate, which I want to try and make open and close whenever a truck either comes or goes out of the yard. And I've got a bit of an idea, and that's why there's a wonky crate here, because I'm thinking what I might need to do is have a little bit of a channel here and put it on a gantry so it triggers and pulls back and so on. But to make gantries work, it does mean there needs to be a hole all along here. I guess that's also going to mean that I won't be able to have a post here, but I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. Now, let's see if we can figure this out. I think the first thing I'm going to need to do is actually extend the gate another block that way so that this block here can kind of grip onto it. In fact, what would be ideal is if we can actually start sliding it from here. I think I've got an idea how we can do that. If we put a panel in there and then we grab a bit of glass. Do we have any just normal clear glass? Yep, here we go. If we put that in there, that is pretty much invisible. I'll accept that. Now let's glue the gate together, and then we'll glue that to that, and that bit to that bit. And then we need some gantry things. We've got gantries there. Do we have a carriage? I don't believe so. How do we make one of these? Oh, okay. We grab some planks from that bag. We can just make it in here, which means we need our gantry to start there and go that way. Let's get rid of that and put the gantry carriage on. Now, in theory, if we power that gantry, it should slide open the gate. But we want to be clever about it, so we need a sequence... Oh, no. Okay, so we need a sequence gear shift, but we've run out of electron tubes. These things are so annoying to make. Now, where were we? Right, so sequenced gear shifts. And what we want this to do when activated is go 5 meters in one direction, so that's 5 blocks. Delay it for 10 seconds, at least for now. We'll time that properly later. And then go in the other direction. And we can get that connected up to power over here. There we go. Now let's just give it a test. Well, it's way too fast, but it does at least seem to open and close the gate. So let's quickly fix the speed with this and this. And I guess here's going to be the perfect place for it. Well, that's looking like a much better speed. Let's give it a go now. Yeah, nice slow gate opening. I like it. It's a little bit jibby. And after 10 seconds, that should go back. Yeah, look at that. If we stick a redstone signal on there, set it to receive, give it a secret code, and then if we go up here and make some buttons... Yep, look at that. I guess it would make sense to put a button on this side as well. And hopefully that one should work. Excellent. That looks really cool. I really like that. So now we need to do some clever timings to make it so that when a truck is going to leave or enter this place, it does what it's supposed to and actually waits for the gate to open. But I've got an idea of how I can do that, and hopefully it's going to work. So we're calling this area Dock Store. So if we call this Dock Store Entrance, have another one for Dock Store Exit. However, we do actually need 2 for Dock Store Exit, but that shouldn't be an issue. And what we'll do is we'll have it so that if a train pulls into these stations, it will also trigger the gates. And then all we need to do is match up the timings for how long the car waits before it drives, which is probably going to be about 5 or 6 seconds. And then after it drives through, make sure that it actually manages to get through before the gate closes again. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's run a couple of tests in our small truck here. However, I do need to turn around, so let's quickly go over here and do that. So if we approach Dock Store Exits, doesn't seem to have sent a signal. Let's go see what's going on there. So it's because I've been a big silly and I've used repeaters instead of comparators on the stations. And just get these things replaced, and that should trigger my gate. Yes, there we go, look, it's opening now. And if we're quick, we can drive through, and then the gate should close behind. This is incredibly satisfying. Now let's try approaching it from this side and see what the timing's like. How long do we need to wait at the station? So about 7 seconds should do it, I would imagine. So now we know that's all going to work. What I need to do is get some redstone signals on these so they only trigger when they're at the correct station. I need to make sure the mossy blocks are coming out of one of these. And then I need to find a new driver for this van and change its schedule so that this one has basically another pick up and drop off on its route. So one step at a time, let's sort these out first. We'll set this one as Moss. And we'll ingeniously call the station Dock Store Moss. I'm a clever one, me. Then we'll put a funnel here for Moss, and then just replace this again with a draw controller slave, and link this to the one downstairs. Where's my wrench? Make that receive. And I think we're all set. So let's grab a lead, grab ourselves a driver. You'll do, sir. Chuck him in there and grab his schedule. And at this stage, I think after Docks 1, what we want him to do is to go to station Dock Store Entrance, wait there for 8 seconds, then go to Dock Store Moss, wait for 10 seconds, then Dock Store Reverse, then Dock Store Exit, wait for 8 seconds again, and then it should be good to carry on its journey. So I've reset your progress. You should go to Kelp Drop first. Let's see how this goes. Well, in the right direction so far. Let's just wait for him to come back. And now after this, he should go to the station over here, and he should go and get the moss. Let's see what happens. Right, he's off. What way are we going? Okay, this is probably the ideal route we wanted him to take. If he goes left, yep. And then should stop here. Come on. Yes! That is so satisfying to watch. And... what are you doing? Where are you going? Yeah, I've put this station 1 block too far forward, so by then it basically can't go onto this track here. So let's just move this station back a little bit, and that should solve the problem. Let's just wait here for him to come do the gate thing again. Right, the moss is loading up. This is good. Now hopefully he'll reverse up there. And then wait for the gate to open again so he can leave. Then when he goes out, I think he's going to go around to the left here, because there's not really a way to make that turn at the end. No, what are you doing? Maybe I need to move the exit station too. Let's see what happens this time, shall we? 3rd time's the charm. Come on, buddy. You know you can do it. Go forwards. Oh, it's working. Amazing. What a hero. And I'm just going to stay here and watch for a moment and make sure we haven't messed up anything else with the transports. Few in-game days later, and I'm pleased to report everything seems to be working a treat. We now have our moss going up to the main warehouse, and we've got plenty of space for other things we're going to be making around this area as well. But that's not going to be today. Today, we have another task, and that is to make a passenger station, and this spot here is just screaming out for it, really. I think it's the perfect location to squeeze one in, and we can always connect up some roads around the back if we need to later. And we have a fairly well-established station layout from the stations we've already built in this series, and we're going to be doing something very similar here, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details as I build it. Well, at least the base part of the platform anyway, and then we'll put some funky buildings on it as well, which are probably going to follow a similar style to here. But first I need to empty my backpack because it's rammed full of stuff I don't really need. And of course I need to grab the things that I do need. I think the first thing I should do, instead of complaining about the rain, because it's always raining, is build a shelter from the rain. So I just want to mark out roughly where some buildings are going to go. And I think for this one, we're just going to have a long building running along the back here. We'll have some kind of a shop or something here, like a newsagent's or a news outlet type thing. Although it could probably do with being a bit smaller. We'll maybe have a small sort of burger bar next to that that's got an outside bit and then has a bunch of indoor seating as well. So it's kind of like a burger bar and a cafe. That feels very 50s to me. We'll maybe have a sheltered seating area here and then a small ticket office. Then that leaves us plenty of space over here to have a bridge that goes over to the other side here so people can get into the yard. But I think the best thing to do is to get all of this boxed out and figure out how we're going to do the roof. The walls are built up, the shape's coming together, and I think I've worked out the cafe a little bit more. So we'll have a doorway here, we're going to have some big windows and seating areas, and then this is going to be the kind of food prep area and a little bit of storage for burgers and things like that. And basically just have a stash of food ready for all the passengers that'll obviously be coming through on my empty world. Minor details. But if I had a stash of food here, it would be quite nice. And for the roof of that build over there, I think I want to use this, the Viridium, because it does look quite cool. And we did mine a whole bunch of it a few episodes ago, so we might as well make use of it. Yeah, look at that. Thousands of the stuff. Right, let's get a roof on this thing. We'll work out the shape on one side first, and then just carry it across. That seems to be the clever thing to do. So shape-wise, I'm thinking maybe something like that, but I'm not sold on the roof. I quite like the arch bit over here. I think the green works well, but I think I need to use a different colour at the front here, and maybe put a trim of some kind on it as well. So I'm going to mess around with that for a little bit, and hopefully when I bring you back in, we'll have a complete roof. And maybe even some pillars holding it up. And there we go, roof-wise, I think that's looking pretty good. The glass works really well. We've got a nice sort of division between the actual building roof and the shelter. And with the poles along there as well, that works nicely. But what I need to do now is sort out some details. So we need to get some ticket booths in here first. And to be honest, we could do with a bit of texture as well, but we'll probably just sort of do that as we go along, I think. So for these ticket sales office-y type bits, I think we're gonna have this one closed. In fact, we'll have two of them closed. It is railways after all. There's only one open, and there probably won't even be anyone here. So I think that'll work. Let's just get it looking nice. I think we're almost there with the ticket office. We just need a finishing touch. There we go. Excuse me, sir. There we go. We have our ticket clerk. Amazing. And I've kept it fairly simple in here. Just put up a few shelves, boxes, and a desk. And from the outside, I've swapped this out a bit to make it look better. Added a small little flower pot type thing and a few signs. And to be honest, I don't think this ticket office needs more than that. But opposite the ticket office, I do want to put in a sign just so we know what trains are coming in, when they're coming, and so on. So let's do this. And now we've got a frame. I just need to add in some display boards. And we need to get this thing some power as well. So let's go underground and see where our power supply is. It shouldn't be too far away. And it looks like our closest power is just over there. And there we go, now we have power. But what we don't have is any information to actually put on the board, because this area doesn't have a name yet, actually. So if you do have any ideas for a name for this sort of dockyard slash warehousey type place, please do let me know in the comments and we'll get this named next episode. But also, we don't actually have a proper station in yet. We don't have any trains that are going to be coming here. So yeah, currently there's nothing to display on the board, but at least it's ready for us. Next up, we have a small seating area. This should be fairly simple. And a brief moment later, the seating area is looking a little bit better. We've made good use of the big posters that Zloya's made us. And over here, I've actually done this, look. I've used the sort of graffiti spray can thing again as well, and I've just put a couple of the old train tickets on there. I think that looks pretty cool. I wonder, how would one look if it was just thrown on the floor? I mean, it could do with being at an angle, but it could work. It's like a little bit of litter. Next up, I think I want to work on the burger bar. So we're going to have a seating area through here, and then we're going to have the kitchen-y bit in here. And I think I'm going to do the kitchen first. That seems to make more sense to me. And then we'll have the sort of takeaway style section here as well. But in order to build a kitchen, I need to make lots of Farmer's Delight things to make that happen, such as a few stoves, cooking pots, skillet, a couple of knives, some cabinets, chopping board, and then just for fun we'll also grab a slicer, mixer, and a couple of basins. And now we've got the basics, let's build a kitchen. And a short while later, I think we're just about sorted. We've got a lovely kitchen set up now, although I could do with the door over there, actually. Let's quickly make one. There we go. So on the outside here, you may see these. These are Create blueprints. Basically, they kind of store recipes, so if I had the ingredients on me, I could go up there, click that, and it would make the item. But I just thought they looked pretty good as kind of menu options for the cafe. On the inside, we've got a bunch of cupboards. We've got some herbs and mushrooms, a bit of storage. We've got a mixer and a slicer, which, to be honest, I haven't given power because I don't think we're going to need them over here. And I didn't really want to ruin the aesthetic trying to squeeze the power in. We've got a central kitchen island here as well with sort of some big cooking platforms. Got some pots for cooking on this side. And out the back here, we've got a storeroom where we can stick a couple of crates of food and things like that. And you may notice I haven't finished the outside there yet, but I do have a plan. And on the outside, once again, we've got the signs up and we've just got a sort of serving desk here as well. But it has just occurred to me, one thing I forgot to add was the tills. So let's quickly get those in. That's better. And it's looking better out here as well now. But this bit here is basically the sort of delivery area. So I want to make a kind of garage door in there, maybe out of iron. We'll see what textured blocks we can get. And then just a little bit more seating out here and maybe some down the side here as well. On this covered bit, I decided not to put a newsagents type thing in. There wasn't really the space. But I think another seating area here would work quite well. So let's get those last few bits in and then we're pretty much done with the station, I think. And I'm pretty pleased with how it's looking so far. It's certainly different to the others. And now I think we're basically done. I've got the garage door in. I've got the seats in around the corner. We've got a bit of foliage. I've even decorated the front of the burger stand and the interior, which was probably the main thing I needed to do. But the station building itself is now complete. I just need to sort out the rest of it, which means getting a fence up around here, a bridge that goes over to that side, which means I'm going to need to move the van out of the way, and I just need to sort out the gravel and the tracks around this area as well. And a little while later, I think the station is now completely done. We've sorted out the track out the front, we've got a bridge in, we've even got some seats over this side now, as well as a bit of lighting, texturing the roof, and so on. And I think this is looking pretty good. But what's the use of having a station if we don't have a train to pull up to it? So let's chuck a station down, just somewhere like that for now will do. We'll probably move this later. This is just so we can build a train. But as usual, you've seen me build loads of trains, so let's just quickly build up an engine, and then we'll have a chat about the carriages. There we go, a short while later we have another train, this time it's green. And I know that a lot of you that watch these videos are quite up on your trains, you know lots of things about trains, but I know two things about trains. There's steam ones and there's electric ones. And that's about it. So apologies if it's not accurate to how a steam train would actually be, but it looks like a steam train, so I'm happy. But now it's time to add some passenger carriages, and this time we're going to make them a little bit more modern than the last time. But once again, I don't really know much about trains. Pretty sure Hornby made some small ones that you can't get inside. But if I remember correctly, Hornby also had some sort of like cream and red passenger carriage type things, and they seem to be the sort of old school traditional type thing, so that's what I'm going to go with. Just something basic but effective. So I've gathered together a bunch of stuff. Let's see what we can pull off. So the first thing we're going to do is select a bogie, and we want one of these double axle styles. And I think I quite like these ones here. Yeah, that should work nicely. Now, let's just build a subframe, and I guess the question is, how big do we want this passenger carriage? I mean, we want it to be quite long. Let's just try this for now. It's looking a little bit too metally, though. Let's maybe try swapping these ones out. And then we'll just put some rails on the front and back. So we didn't actually have access to these rails last time, so that's quite nice. Although I should probably leave the middle bit open for between carriages. That would make sense. Color palette-wise, I think we're going to use these thin mangrove planks for the bottom, and then blank sandstone carving on top of that, and then maybe some crated mangrove planks for the top, potentially. But either way, the majority of this train is going to be made up of copycat panels, so let's start getting these on the outside here. And I think we'll just build up the walls first. We'll leave the windows empty so we can see exactly what we're working with. That kind of makes sense. Then we'll fill the panels in, so we've got the mangrove on the bottom, blank sandstone carving in the middle, and the crated mangrove at the top. And then similar to what we did on the other train, what I'm going to do is put in some of these sort of half slabs across the top using a different mangrove block. This one is the detailed mangrove planks. Yes, that colour's working really well. I think that's definitely what we're going to go with. Let's get some windows in, and I'm thinking if we use these sort of light grey ones here, that could work quite nicely. Now let's just build this up on the other side as well, so we're matching. Okay, looking good. And now we want to do a roof. I think we want that to be slightly raised in the middle, then sloped, and then maybe sticking out just a tiny bit. Yep, I think that roof works well, but let's just attach it with some levers. Maybe stick a lantern on, get some stoppers on either end, and then apart from some doors and an interior, I think we're done. That's a pretty nifty looking carriage. But the interior should be fairly straightforward if we just dump down a bunch of seats like this. And between some of those seats, we'll just put in some small dividers. We'll grab some wooden brackets. I think they're going to work for this. And what I want to do is put these in here and... Can we remove that? Maybe do that? Yeah, let's go with that. I think that'll work. Now, if we just put a door in there and another one at this side, we're done. Train interior sorted. In fact, that means the entire carriage is now done. Awesome. All I need to do now is add a couple more. And a short while later, we now have 3 carriages, and I'm much happier. But I do need to glue the whole thing together, assemble it, and hope it works. I mean, let's be honest, I'm probably going to leave something behind when I glue it. Think I've got it all. Let's give it a go. So, assemble train. This one's going to need a name as well, folks, so suggestions in the comments. That was very close. That zombie almost got me. Jeez. Now, let's do a quick lap and see if we've left anything behind. I think for the first time ever, we might have actually got everything first time. Well, that's awesome. I'm very pleased with that. Although, what we do need to do is maybe move the station forward a bit because the passenger carriages are not actually completely on the platform here. And it doesn't matter about the engine, of course. So, let's pull this dude forward to maybe about here. And once again, this area still doesn't have a name at the moment, so we're just going to call it Docks. But I can't wait to see your suggestions for naming this area. Now, the last thing to do is to grab a driver, and I do like using the flies in the trains because when we use those, we can reach over them and still grab the controls. Where'd he go? I've lost him. There he is. So you can now live in there. And let's make you a quick schedule. And I think with this train, we're just going to go to Beardstone Valley, Timberholm, and the docks. I don't think we need to go anywhere else. We already have a different train that goes to the Savannah. So if you want to get from here to the Savannah, it just means you have to go via Beardstone Valley. But that's en route anyway, kinda. Right, you, off you go. And it looks like we've got our first passenger as well. But sadly, that is all we've got time for today. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.